Beloved child, I see the tape on the table and the boxes half packed. I see the tabs open to new cities that glimmer like rescue and the quiet piles of what you don't know how to take or leave. I hear your mind racing in the night, making timelines you cannot keep, bargaining with deadlines that are not mine, and measuring yourself against clocks I did not wind. You keep asking, is it time? Will I miss the window? What if I stay and dry up? What if I go and lose everything? Hear me, pause your feet. I am not late, you are being led. I go before you to make a straight line where there appears to be only thicket and fog. I walk beside you, my hand on your shoulder, steadying your breath and your balance when your heart stutters between yes and no. I stand behind you as a guard, as a shield, as a covering that will not permit what is not appointed to overtake you. This is the circle I keep around you, before you, beside you, behind you, so you are held, not hurried, guided, not shoved. You want a map that shows every mile marker, every cost, every outcome, because you have been taught to trust certainty more than presence. But I have never promised you a floodlight. I give you a lamp, sufficient to reveal the next faithful step and the ground just ahead of your toes. As it is written, my word is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. Psalm 119:105. You do not need to see the city skyline to obey me today. You need to see where to place your foot now, and then again, for I unfold the path as you walk with me. In your heart, you plan your way, spreadsheets, pros and cons, whispered counsel, whispered fears, and there is wisdom in counsel and diligence. Yet over your planning I place a promise that governs movement. I establish your steps. Proverbs 16:9. Moving is not merely logistics, it is alignment. A lease can end and still not be my leading. An offer can appear appealing and still not be my voice. Do not confuse opportunity with calling, nor pressure with timing. My timing is not a tyrant, it is a midwife. It does not rush you to appease fear. It delivers you when you are ready to breathe the air of the next place. Beloved child, when I whisper, don't move yet, it is not punishment. It is protection from doors that look like promise, but open into rooms without oxygen. It is preparation, crafting in you the muscle to carry what I am giving you on the other side, so you do not arrive as a tourist, but as one entrusted. It is precise timing, a synchronization you cannot see yet, people I am aligning, resources I am arranging, a window that will not close on you because it was made for you. Where you see delay, I am weaving. Where you feel stuck, I am steadying the foundation so the house will not tilt under future weight. I know the ache that builds in the place you are now, the neighbors who do not understand you, the job that seems to skim your surface without touching your depth, the room that feels smaller each month you remain. I know the well-meaning voices that tell you better to leap than to languish, and the private panic that you will stagnate if you do not go. Hear me, you are not languishing, you are learning to listen. You are not stagnating, you are being strengthened. The quiet where you think nothing is happening is where I am forming your courage, your patience, your discernment. My power is made perfect in your weakness, not in your hurry. 2 Corinthians 12:9. I do not shout above the noise. I whisper within the quiet. Put down the stack of competing predictions and come back to the simple trust that has carried you farther than your cleverness ever did. Trust in me with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. Your understanding is good for counting boxes. My wisdom is required for reading seasons. Ask me for light, not for leverage. Ask me for the next step, not for the entire staircase. I am not hiding the end from you to torment you. I am training you to walk with me so that when the pressure comes in the next place, you will know the sound of my footsteps beside yours. Beloved, I am not indifferent to practical needs. I am Lord over them. I see the rent that must be paid, the offer that carries a deadline, the family that asks for clarity you do not yet have. Bring each of these to me without pretending you are not afraid. There is no need to rush, no need to be perfect, only to be sincere and willing. When I am ready to unfold your next step, I will not mutter in riddles. I will give you peace that does not vanish when the storm raises its voice. I will open provision that does not demand you abandon wisdom. I will align doors and witnesses and timing so that what once felt like scattering becomes agreement. Be at ease. These are not burdens for you to manufacture. They are confirmations I give to those who wait on me. So pause your feet. Breathe. Let the boxes sit unsealed a little longer if I have not spoken. Refrain from arranging your own rescue when I have promised to lead you out by a way that honors the story I am authoring in you. Do not call yourself stuck when I call you steadied. Do not rename my patience as absence. I go before you into the next city you will one day enter. I walk beside you in the hallways you still pace tonight. I stand behind you, keeping watch over what tries to push you from behind with fear. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but I, the Lord, establish their steps. Proverbs 16:9. You are mine. I have called you by name. Isaiah 43:1. You are not the product of chance. You are an intention shaped from eternity, and I am not careless with what I choose. Stay close enough to feel my hand upon your shoulder. When I ask you to be still, be still. When I tell you to step, you will know, for the lamp will brighten at your feet. Until then, let this be enough. You are not late, you are not lost, and you are not alone. You are being led. Beloved child, I see the twitch in your spirit that says, if I move, I will breathe. And I see how quickly your mind dresses that impulse in strategy and calls it wisdom. When anxiety rises, flight speaks with a persuasive voice. It drafts plans, draws new maps, and suggests that distance is deliverance. But hear me. Not every restless plan is revelation. Sometimes fear borrows the language of stewardship and pretends to be counsel. Sometimes the ache of now whispers, anywhere but here, and your heart tries to turn that whisper into a mandate I have not given. Do not confuse discomfort with danger. Sometimes I keep you in the very place you want to flee because growth is being formed in you that cannot be purchased by miles or found in a new skyline. Let me name, with love, the three motives that often masquerade as my leading. The first is escaping discomfort. You long for a room with more air because the walls here feel close. You imagine that a new city will silence the noise within. But child, geography cannot heal what obedience must heal. A change of address cannot remove the sharpening of your character I am doing now, where you feel friction at work, in conversations that stretch you, in the quiet where you face yourself. I am sanding the rough edges that would splinter under the weight of the next assignment. This pressure is not punishment. This is refining fire, not a consuming flame. As it is written, when I have tested you, you shall come forth as gold. Job 23:10. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. Stability you will need more in the next place than you think you need relief right now. James 1:3. You are not being crushed, you are being shaped, not destruction but formation. The second motive is proving worth. You tell yourself, if I go and succeed there, it will prove I was right to dream. It will answer the voices that doubted me. You imagine a city as a stage and success as applause that settles your soul. But I did not call you to relocate to vindicate your name. I have already named you. You are mine. I have called you by name. Isaiah 43:1. Your value is not set by a zip code or a salary line. It was set before the foundations were laid. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. When the desire to prove yourself becomes the engine, you are no longer following my voice. You are chasing a crowd that will not quiet your ache. Beloved child, step out of the courtroom you have built in your imagination. You did not choose me, but I chose you. John 15:16. You have nothing left to prove, only faithfulness to walk out. The third motive is controlling uncertainty. You reach for a plan that calms the unknown, building a grid where every variable must obey your spreadsheet. You tell yourself that certainty is the friend of peace, but the peace I give does not come from perfect control. It comes from perfect trust. Trust in me with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. Your understanding is a useful servant. It is not a worthy master. When you seek to rule every contingency, you leave little room for the whisper that guides one obedient step at a time. The light I place at your feet is a lamp, not a floodlight, because intimacy, not information, is how I train your steps. Beloved, I say this with tenderness and clarity. Not every open listing is an open door. A vacancy that appears at the very moment you feel restless may simply be a hallway to teach you discernment. Likewise, not every closed lease is rejection. Often it is redirection, my hand turning your face from what would flatter you now, but fail you later. I am not the author of confusion. When I lead, I do so with coherence that emerges in the right time, not with the panic that demands you decide by midnight or be lost forever. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but I establish the steps that carry you, and I am faithful to bring you into what I appoint. Proverbs 16:9. Do not misunderstand me, my beloved. I do not ask you to remain in true danger. I do not will harm for you. I am your shelter, your deliverer, your defender. I go before you into threats you cannot see. I walk beside you through shadows that seem larger than they are. I stand behind you to silence what roars from your past. But discomfort and danger are not the same river, and you must learn to discern their banks. Discomfort stretches, danger devours. Discomfort pries open old patterns. Danger violates my design for your safety. Ask me to reveal the difference, and I will answer, because I am not indifferent to your trembling. So what is this discomfort producing? It is training your listening, for I am teaching you the texture of my peace that remains even when the wind still speaks. It is enlarging your capacity to steward relationships, responsibilities, and rhythms in ways that will not collapse under future blessing. It is humbling your reliance, shifting you from performance to presence, from control to companionship with me. You are not being sidelined, you are being strengthened. The seed is underground, and the pressure of soil is not burial. It is the womb of emergence. If you will be sincere, hear me, not perfect, just sincere and willing, I will reduce the chaos that swirls around your decision without demanding you hold the whole map. I will give you a method for discernment that steadies you in the swirl. I will anchor your steps with 3 confirmations that harmonize. My peace that does not vanish when the storm raises its voice. My provision that does not require you to abandon wisdom to survive. And my providential alignment where the door, the timing, and the witness begin to agree. These are not trophies you must earn, but gifts I delight to give my children who wait on me. Beloved child, rest your racing heart. Do not run because the room is warm and you crave cool air. Remain until I say move, and when I do, you will know. Your flight response does not have to drive the car. Let my hand steady the wheel. Be still where I say still. Step only where I brighten the path. I go before you into the days ahead. I walk beside you in the minutes you occupy now. I stand behind you, guarding what you cannot guard. Hold fast to this. You are not stuck. You are being steadied. And as you release the need to escape, I will lead you by peace, by provision, and by alignment into the place prepared for you. So, it is with you. Beloved child, because you have asked me, how will I know when to move? How will I know where and when and through which door? I place into your hands a simple steadying rule of discernment, not to trap you in analysis, but to free you from anxiety. Hear me. I confirm your steps through peace. I provide what is needed for what I command, and I align the door, the timing, and the witness so that confusion gives way to coherence. Peace, provision, providential alignment. This is how I shepherd you from impulse to obedience, from panic to purpose, from guessing to guided steps. In your heart you will plan your way, and that has its place. But I, the Lord, establish your steps. Proverbs 16:9. I go before you into the path you cannot yet see. I walk beside you as you weigh what you can see. I stand behind you, guarding you from the fear that pushes you faster than my wisdom permits. Understand what I am giving you and what I am not. I am not handing you superstition disguised as guidance, no scavenger hunt of random signs, no obsession with numbers on clocks or colors on trucks, no chasing of omens that promise shortcut certainty without my presence. I am not feeding your perfectionism, demanding that every variable line up in pristine rows before you can move 1 inch. I am not appointing delay for delay's sake, as if slowness itself were holy. What I am giving you is relational, a process anchored in my nearness and your listening, a cadence where you learn my pacing as surely as you learn my voice. My word is a lamp to your feet, not a floodlight to the horizon. I light the next obedient step so that intimacy remains the way you travel, not merely the destination you hope to reach. Psalm 119:105. Trust in me with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. Your understanding will gather information. My peace will interpret it. Your diligence will count the costs. My provision will cover what diligence cannot predict. Your planning will schedule. My providence will synchronize. Set your expectations rightly, beloved. I rarely drop all 3 confirmations in your lap at once like a packaged answer. I lead you in a rhythm that teaches trust. Often I let peace rise first like dawn, steadying your inner waters before a single external door swings open. Sometimes provision appears, an unexpected resource, favor you did not solicit, and peace catches up as you recognize my handwriting on the envelope. At other times, alignment will begin. The email arrives the same day, counsel affirms the same week, a timeline adjusts, and the peace that seemed quiet suddenly remembers its full voice. Do not be alarmed if one arrives before the others. Do not declare a famine when you taste a first fruit. I am consistent in character even when my sequence is creative. The lamp is at your feet, beloved child. It is enough light for the next faithful footfall. Let the next step be confirmed by what I have named, even if the entire staircase still hides in mystery. Let me name each gift plainly so your discernment has handles. Peace is my interior witness that does not evaporate when contrary winds blow. It is not the adrenaline relief of escape. It is the still, stubborn assurance that lingers after you sleep on it, after you pray again, after you seek wise counsel and quiet the noise. My peace guards your heart and your mind like sentries at your gate. Philippians 4:7. Provision is my practical faithfulness expressed in tangible means, work that's appointed rather than manipulated, housing opened without deceit, resources that do not demand you sacrifice integrity or abandon wisdom to survive. I do not send you where I will not sustain you. Where I call, I also equip. Providential alignment is the harmony I compose between the right door, the right timing, and the right witness. I am not the author of confusion. When I orchestrate, you will begin to see threads knot into a cord that can bear weight. 1 Corinthians 14:33. The door will be a door, not a peephole. The timing will be timely, not tyrannical. The witness will agree, from my spirit within you, from my word, and from wise voices who know my ways. Picture this with me, and let it relax your grip. Suppose the role in City A stretches its hand, but every time you stare at the offer, your chest tightens and your prayers feel like pushing a heavy door uphill. Meanwhile, the apartment you imagined in City B has not appeared. Yet when you bring City B before me, a settled quiet settles again and again and again. Do not call that quiet nothing. Attend to it. Now look for provision. Are there means that align without contorting your values? Work that provides while you prepare. Savings that I have multiplied unbeknownst to you. Partners I have already spoken to who hold a key. And watch for alignment. Do circumstances begin to synchronize? The mentor calls unprompted. The lease term adjusts without penalty. The travel dates and the interview and the counsel converge. By 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter is established. Deuteronomy 19:15, 2 Corinthians 13:1. I provide witnesses so that you are not left to the tyranny of your own mood. Here is how you misuse what I am making simple. You mistake the rush of relief for the fruit of peace, and because escape numbs the ache for a moment, you anoint it as destiny, or you upgrade presumption to faith, throwing yourself into a move I did not command and then calling the panic a test I never assigned. Or you declare coincidence to be confirmation when the inner witness is absent and counsel is uneasy. Beloved child, I am not teasing you with a moving target. I am teaching you to slow your breathing until you can recognize the difference between being driven and being led. When I drive, it is only to drive out fear. When I lead, it is always by voice and by hand. Let me free you from the deadline that bullies you. If I am leading, time will serve you, not master you. If an offer expires because it required panic to secure it, let it expire. I am not a clock's servant. If a door closes because it was never yours, bless it as a teacher and let it swing shut. If counsel hesitates and your peace dims when you force the pace, pause. I can reopen what seems locked. I can hold what seems slipping. I can create what does not yet exist. The meetings that seem coincidental, the emails that land within minutes of prayer, the adjustments that appear on the very day you surrender the timeline, all of these are notes in the song I am composing, and I will not let the music resolve on the wrong chord. Do not think this framework is beyond you. It is not the curriculum of experts. It is the pathway of children who know their Father's voice. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be sincere and willing. Bring me your questions. Lay out your pros and cons. Then lay your heart on top of them and listen for the whisper that remains when arguments end. Search the scriptures and let the lamp warm your feet. My word will not contradict my peace, and my peace will not require you to disobey my word. Ask for wise witness, not flattery, not fear, but those who can say, "This bears his fragrance," or "This has the grit of haste." Pay attention to provision. Do not despise small beginnings that prove faithful. And watch for alignment that grows, not just appears for a moment and evaporates when touched. Beloved child, the first confirmation is where I will take you next, because a rushed spirit cannot interpret direction clearly. If you cannot breathe where you stand, you will call any open space a promised land. So be still, and let me teach you the sound and texture of my peace, the whisper that survives the storm, the river that runs beneath the street noise of your thoughts. I go before you into that quiet place. I walk beside you as you practice listening. I stand behind you, silencing the lies that say you will miss me if you slow down. Remember this and rest. Before you move cities, let me confirm your steps through peace, through provision, and through providential alignment. Now come with me into the first, peace, and let it steady your hands before you reach for any handle. Beloved child, come nearer and listen. The first confirmation is peace, not the thin quiet that comes when everything around you goes silent, but the deep steadiness that remains even when wind and waves still try to speak. My peace is not the prize you receive after you control every variable. It is the gift I place within you before the variables settle. As it is written, my peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. John 14:27. This is not the absence of questions. This is the presence of me. This is the anchor that holds when knowledge runs out and the map is incomplete. The whisper that survives the storm. Let me teach you the texture of this peace so you will not mistake adrenaline for an answer. Adrenaline shouts, decide now or lose it. Peace says, be still and know I am God. Psalm 46:10. Adrenaline floods quickly and fades quickly. Peace rises slowly and stays. Adrenaline craves immediate relief. Peace welcomes holy patience. Adrenaline rushes your breathing and tightens your chest. Peace loosens the rope behind your ribs and lets you exhale again. I do not shout above the noise. I whisper within the quiet. When Elijah stood in the cave, the wind tore, the earthquake shook, the fire blazed, and I was not in them. I came in a low whisper, a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. So it is with you. Reduce the inputs and you will hear the whisper. Reduce the clamor and you will feel the river beneath the surface current. Here is how you begin to discern it. When you pray about this move, do you sense release or tightening? Not once, not in a single heated moment, but again and again over days. Does your inner ground soften toward trust or harden into compulsion? When you imagine staying, does it feel like death or does it feel like humility? There is a difference. Death is the stifling of what I have truly breathed into you. Humility is the laying down of pride, the willingness to grow roots where no one applauds, the patience that refuses to manufacture fruit. When you imagine moving, does it feel like faith or like escape? Faith has weight and clarity even if you tremble. Escape has urgency and panic even if it promises relief. Let your answers come in my presence, not in the pressure of other people's timelines. Understand the counterfeits that parade as my peace. Relief is not the same as peace. Relief can come from avoidance, closing the tab so you do not have to think, signing a lease so the landlord stops calling, booking a flight so your anxious mind has something to hold. Relief can be bought with speed. My peace cannot be purchased by hurry. Relief numbs, peace restores. Relief often requires you to mute conviction. Peace never asks you to betray wisdom. Let the peace of Christ rule in your heart. Let it be the umpire that calls safe or out, even when the crowd screams otherwise. Colossians 3:15. Where I am ruling, the call will not change every hour with your mood. It will hold, and it will hold you. I know the tricks your heart has learned to survive. It says, if I commit quickly, the ache will stop. It says, if I move, people will stop questioning me. It says, if I just leave, I won't have to face what this place mirrors back. Beloved child, I am not cruel. I know why the quick fix seduces you, but I love you too much to let you mistake numbing for healing and compulsion for calling. Peace will wait for you to quiet down so that it can be recognized. Peace does not bully. Peace does not vanish when you sleep. Peace meets you again in the morning after the storm has had its say, and the peace I give will guard your heart and your mind in me, like sentries posted day and night. Philippians 4:7. Because you ask for something practical, I give you this simple practice. Sit with me for 3 days. Do not decide in panic. For 3 mornings and 3 evenings, put your phone face down and your notifications off. Open the scriptures not as a vending machine for fast answers, but as a lamp to warm your feet. Read slowly John 14, where my peace is promised. Psalm 23, where I shepherd you beside still waters. Philippians 4, 6-7, where prayer and thanksgiving loosen anxiety. And Proverbs 3, 5-6, where trust redirects your understanding. Journal without performance. Ask yourself with me, when I picture staying, what in me resists? And is that pride, fear of being unseen, or a true warning? When I picture moving, what in me leaps? And is that faith, ego, or escape? Where does my chest loosen as I surrender? Where do my thoughts quiet after prayer, not before it? Invite 2 wise witnesses who know my ways, no more than 2 in these 3 days, to pray and reflect back to you what they sense. Not flattery, not fear, but fragrance. Fast not only from food, if I lead you, but from input that imitates my voice. Step away from constant scrolling through listings and endless neighborhood videos. Close the tabs that keep your mind spinning, the ones you open to soothe and only end up more stirred. Walk for 20 minutes without headphones and let the cadence of your steps become a metronome for listening. Breathe the simplest prayer as you go. I am yours. Lead me. Isaiah 43:1. Write what rises after the quiet, not in the rush. If the decision cannot survive 3 days of stillness, it is not my peace. It is a bully demanding you to obey its clock. I am not a clock servant. I go before you into those 3 days. I walk beside you as you wait. I stand behind you to keep anxiety from shoving you through the nearest exit. Let me also free you from a misunderstanding. My peace does not mean the absence of butterflies. Obedience can tremble and still be steady. Even Jesus in the garden felt the weight of what was before him and yet yielded to the Father's will. Surrender did not erase the cost, but it anchored the heart. Peace does not erase cost. It clarifies calling. You may feel small tremors in your hands and still know you are held. The difference is this. When fear drives, you feel chased. When I lead, you feel accompanied. When fear drives, the story shrinks to survival. When I lead, the story expands to faithfulness, even if the exact outcomes are still veiled. Ask me for a sign of this peace, and I will help you recognize it. In the middle of chores, your breath will deepen without effort when you release the decision back to me. In conversation with counsel, the sentence that carries my tone will make your internal clamor bow. As you read, a line will meet you with warmth, like a hand on your shoulder, and it will keep meeting you through the day. My sheep hear my voice. John 10:27. Not perfectly, but truly. There is no need to be perfect, only sincere and willing. Let sincerity, not spectacle, be the way you discern. Another test for you. Lay your options before me with open hands, city A, city B, and the path of remaining. Ask, Lord, if I delayed by 1 month in obedience, would your peace grow or shrink? If the peace grows with patient delay, do not mistake the absence of panic for the absence of purpose. I may be synchronizing pieces you cannot see. If, on the other hand, as you delay in fear, peace diminishes and anxiety multiplies not from impatience, but from disobedience, then attend to that too. I am the God who can speak. Go forward even with a sea in front of you and make the waters part on time. Exodus 14. Remember the story. So it is with you. Hear this clearly. Peace is my interior witness, but it is not the only witness. Do not enthrone your inner sense above my word, above wisdom, above the practical realities I am arranging. I do not call you to a step I refuse to sustain. The peace I give will be consistent with the provision I provide. If you claim peace, yet you must abandon wisdom to survive. Pause. That is not my voice. If you claim peace, but every righteous counsel around you grieves, and my word convicts. Pause. That is not my peace, but presumption wrapped in a soft blanket. By 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter is established. 2 Corinthians 13:1. So, beloved child, practice the 3 days. Put your ear to my chest and learn the rhythm. Let the quiet become a friend again. I go before you into the stillness you fear will expose you. It will not expose you to shame, but to truth, and truth will steady you. I walk beside you as you ask hard questions without panic. I stand behind you as pressure pounds against your back, refusing to let it push you through a door that flatters now and fails later. When the 3 days finish, if the whisper remains, if, despite the storm's commentary, the river of assurance still runs beneath, receive it as the first confirmation. Keep it not as a trophy, but as a compass. And then we will look outward together, because I am a Father who not only calms your heart, but arranges your life. I will not ask you to go where I will not sustain you. Peace begins the conversation. Provision carries it into the tangible. Open your hands, beloved, and be still. The whisper will not be drowned. Next, watch how I supply. Beloved child, having quieted your heart to hear the whisper that survives the storm, now look with me to the second confirmation, provision. Hear me with tenderness and wait. I will not send you where I will not sustain you. I do not command what I refuse to underwrite. My provision is not a narrow stream that flows only as currency. It is the river of resources, favor, timing, community, health, access, and capacity. It is wisdom that meets you for the day's decision. It is rest in your body so your mind can choose clearly. It is the open hand of another that holds a key you could not fashion alone. When I provide, I do so as a father who anticipates, not as a taskmaster who dares you to survive without me. As it is written, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Matthew 6:33. Where you see lack is where I see opportunity to act. My power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Yet hear the other half of my heart. I do not call you to brand presumption as faith. When you ignore responsibility, you are not trusting me. You are testing me. I am not honored by fantasies that demand you abandon wisdom and rename recklessness as courage. I am honored by surrendered steps that weigh what is in your hands, acknowledge what is not, and invite me to bridge the true gap. I go before you into the places you cannot fill. I walk beside you through the due diligence that protects you. I stand behind you to prevent panic from shoving you into vows you cannot keep. Let me make plain the checkpoints that keep you safe beneath my provision. Look at work with clear eyes. Is there job stability you can name, or are your calculations held together by speculative income that depends on maybes you cannot verify? I bless creativity and I delight in entrepreneurial seeds. But if the budget only balances when every best-case scenario arrives at once, pause. Wisdom is a provision. Consider your savings runway. If you moved today, how many months could you meet your needs without panic? Not the fantasy of skipping essentials, but honest food, housing, transport, insurance, the ordinary dignity of a life that honors me and cares for your body. If the answer exposes fragility, do not despair. It is not a verdict, it is an instruction. Add to your runway, trim what leaks, let patience buy you peace. Ask about housing with realism, not romance. What is the rent in that city? What deposits will be required? Are there fees that first glances hide? I can open a door you cannot kick down, but I will not call you to a doorway that requires deceit to cross. If you would have to falsify, to mislead, to hide income, To leave landlords unpaid or roommates surprised by your silence, wait. I am not in secrecy. I am not in confusion. 1 Corinthians 14:33. Look at debt with the light on. Will this move compound bondage or accelerate freedom? If it multiplies weight on your shoulders without a plan rooted in truth, then let me first teach you to lighten the load. The same trust that moves mountains can also move balances when paired with diligence and time. Honor the lives entwined with yours. If you are married, your covenant is a factor of calling, not a footnote. If you have children, schooling and stability, and the tender reality of their hearts are part of my guidance, not obstacles to it. If you carry responsibility to aging parents or those who depend on you, bring that before me. I will not ask you to abandon care in my name. Ask also about the laws that govern where you long to go. Do you have the right to work there? Are visas or permits needed? I am the opener of doors, yes, but I will not bless disregard for authority that I have established for order. Romans 13. Remember, if papers are required, let me be your advocate through the process rather than your accomplice in avoidance. Do not forget the provision of people. Who will be your covering, your companions, your counsel once you arrive? A church family is not an accessory, it is a lifeline. Are there communities in that city whose confession and practice bear my fragrance? Have you reached out, received welcome, sensed shared values beyond slogans? Community is provision. Mentors are provision. A neighbor who knows my name is provision. You were not designed to pioneer alone without prayer around you. When I send, I also surround. Now learn the distinction that will spare you many tears. Faith stretches, striving strains. Stretch feels like a reach that grace supports. You extend beyond comfort, but I meet you there with strength you did not generate. Strain feels like you pulling a rope that cuts your hands while the load does not move. Stretching increases capacity with joy. Straining decreases integrity with secrecy. If, to make the move work, you must hide what you are doing from those you have asked to be your counsel, notice that. If you must pressure people with manipulated deadlines, notice that. If your sleep is devoured by constant mental gymnastics, because the numbers only balance if no tire goes flat, no child gets sick, and every client pays early, notice that. That is not stretch, that is strain. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:30. Easy does not mean effortless, it means fitted. I tailor obedience to your frame, and then I strengthen your frame. Consider how I have provided before, for I have not changed. In the wilderness I fed Israel with manna, enough for the day, not a month's pantry at once, so that they would learn my constancy step by step. Exodus 16. So it is with you. Sometimes I will give you the daily bread while you remain, proof that I can sustain you here until I send you there. And on the mountain I provided a ram in the thicket at the appointed moment, when Abraham's obedience had climbed to the place of surrender. Genesis 22. So it is with you. Some provisions do not appear at the bottom of the hill. They meet you at the altar called yes. Do not demand that every supply be visible before you move your heart. But do not pretend supply that does not exist to give yourself permission to flee. You ask, what then shall I do while we discern provision? Begin with faithful smallness. Update the resume you have postponed. Send the applications you dread. Take the certification that strengthens your hand. Pay one debt payment beyond the minimum and mark it as worship. Set aside a modest percentage into a move fund. Watch how little becomes much when blessed. Downsize possessions that would cost to carry and that tether your heart to illusion. Travel lighter in spirit even before you travel in body. Schedule a conversation with wise counsel and let someone who loves my voice ask you practical questions you have avoided. Reach out to the church in that city and see if hospitality answers. Give in secret to someone in need. Scarcity loosens its grip when you sow generously. Do not call these actions delay. Call them alignment with provision. Let me offer you a simple litmus. Would this move, made today, require you to betray wisdom tomorrow just to survive? If yes, wait. Would this move, made after 3 or 6 faithful months of preparation, be carried by the resources and relationships I am already assembling? If yes, prepare. Would this move, made in an obedient window that I highlight, stretch you but not steal from those I have charged you to protect? If yes, watch for my signal. There is no need to be perfect. No need to know every expenditure that will ever arise. There is need to be sincere and willing, to honor the light you already have, and to let me supply the part you cannot control. Beloved child, do not be bullied by despair when you look at your accounts. Where you see lack is where I am ready to display sufficiency. But do not call the cliff's edge a runway. I am teaching you to recognize the sound of doors that are funded by my faithfulness versus doors that are financed by your fear. When I am in it, provision will harmonize with peace. Your chest will loosen even as you count. Favor will arise even as you work. Counsel will nod even as you take risk. When I am not in it, panic will require you to rush. Secrecy will require you to hide, and the cost you refuse to weigh today will invoice your future with interest. I go before you into interviews you have not yet scheduled. I walk beside you into meetings where favor will precede your name. I stand behind you to keep the wolf of false urgency from nipping at your heels. I will not send you where I will not sustain you. I will not require you to abandon wisdom to prove devotion. My provision will match my command, and my command will not contradict my character. And when peace and provision begin to agree, do not sprint ahead as if the race is decided. There is one more voice in the chorus I am composing: providential alignment. The door must be a door I have authored. The timing must be a time I have written. The witness must agree so confusion can give way to coherence. We will look there next. For now, rest in this. I am not late. You are being led. Keep your hands open. Keep your pace with me. Where I call, I also supply, and where I supply, I also align. Beloved child, lift your eyes now to the third confirmation, providential alignment. This is not random coincidence. It is authored convergence. It is the weaving you could not engineer, the harmonies you could not conduct, the way separate notes, door, timing, witness, begin to sing the same song because I am the composer who is not the author of confusion. 1 Corinthians 14:33. As it is written, all things work together for good, for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Hear the word. When I am leading, the door, the timing, and the witness agree. I go before you to arrange. I walk beside you to pace. I stand behind you to confirm. First, door alignment. A door aligned by me is real in substance, not only in your imagination. It is a job offer that exists in writing with clarity of role, compensation, and start date. It is housing that you can honestly secure without deception, with terms that do not turn you into a debtor to panic. It is opportunity that bears integrity when scrutinized by light. It does not rely on endless maybes, on a stranger's promise to figure it out later, on you pretending numbers will solve themselves if you stop looking at them. A real door may still require faith to cross, but it does not require compromise to be called open. Sometimes door alignment looks like an opening. Sometimes it looks like a closing that saves you. The lease you wanted falls through at the last minute. You call it rejection, but I am redirecting your feet from a trap you could not see. Not rejection, but redirection. Not loss, but leading. When the door I authored appears, you will recognize that truth and integrity can walk through it together without disguises. Second, timing alignment. I set times and seasons. I plant and I uproot. I make all things beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Timing alignment means the pace is not forced by fear. Windows appear that honor both obedience and wisdom. Notice the difference. Urgency says, now or never, with a snarl at your soul. Obedience says, now is the window, with a hand on your shoulder and a calm that carries you. Timing alignment looks like a start date that honors your need to give notice without burning bridges. It looks like an opening that arrives not 1 month too soon and not 1 month too late, but in a way that lets you lay down well what I entrusted to you here and pick up faithfully what I am entrusting to you there. When I am in the timing, there is stretch. Yes, but there is room to breathe. There is the grace to finish and the grace to begin. Not delay, but preparation. Not haste, but holy pace. Third, witness alignment. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter shall be established. 2 Corinthians 13:1. This witness is threefold. My word that stands forever, the inner peace we have already named, and the counsel of those who know my voice and love my ways. Witness alignment is when scripture you were not hunting finds you. Verses about pilgrimage, about doors, about being sent, appearing over days like stepping stones across a stream, when, in prayer, the same phrase returns not as an echo of your obsession, but as a whisper that steadies. When wise counsel, without being prodded, confirms, yes, this bears his fragrance. It is not manipulation, feeding a narrative to friends until they agree. It is not theatrics, demanding fireworks in the sky. The loudest sign is often the quiet accumulation of clarity over time, the way clouds part little by little until the path is plainly lit at your feet. Your word is a lamp to my feet, not a floodlight for the entire highway. Psalm 119:105. So it is with you. Let me paint this in scenes so your heart can see. You apply for work months ago and hear nothing. Then, after the 3-day peace practice and the sober work of provision, an employer you did not chase reaches out. The conversation is marked by unusual favor. The interview feels less like performance and more like recognition. The offer includes relocation assistance and a start date that matches the very timeline we prayed about. At the same time, a scripture you read that morning, I will lead you and teach you in the way you should go. Psalm 32:8 arrives again unasked for, in a message from a mentor who did not know of the interview. Your spouse, who is slower to move, says, I sense grace on this. The church in that city replies with warmth, offering a small group before you arrive. Door, timing, witness, harmony. Or this, you nearly sign a lease in panic because the fear of losing the unit grips you. Then the landlord calls and withdraws the listing, what feels like a slap. Hours later, your current landlord, unprompted, offers a month-to-month extension with no penalty, buying you time to add to your runway. A friend recommends a neighborhood you had not considered. A safer, more fitting place opens the next week with rent under budget. In the meantime, as you sit with me, the knot in your chest loosens. Not rejection, but redirection. Not confusion, but invitation to seek me closer. That is providential alignment protecting you. Hear the guardrails that will save you from superstition. Do not idolize signs. I can guide you through alignment, yes, but I am not obligated to perform on command. Gideon's fleece was mercy to a fearful heart, not a model for manipulation. I am not a vending machine for mystical hints. I am a father who trains you to recognize my ways. The enemy can manufacture noise, but he cannot replicate holy coherence. Beware of inventing patterns because you crave certainty. Beware of chasing numbers, license plates, and omens, as if I cannot shepherd you by word, peace, provision, and wise counsel. If your signs demand you bypass wisdom, they are not from me. If your signs contradict my character, they are not from me. As it is written, God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. Now learn how to test the harmony. Lay the three on the table: door, timing, witness, and ask simple, honest questions. Door: is the opportunity concrete, honorable, and aligned with the gifts and assignments I have been cultivating in you? Are there letters, contracts, offers, not just promises? Does crossing this threshold allow you to remain truthful? Timing: does the pace allow you to close this season with integrity? Is there room to give notice, to settle obligations, to bless those you are leaving? Do the necessary pieces, school enrollment, move logistics, start dates, fall into a sequence that is demanding but doable? Witness: do scripture, prayer, and counsel converge over days rather than only in one feverish moment? Do the people who carry authority in your life sense the same direction without you scripting their lines? Does peace remain as you bring the plan into the light? Consider misalignments and their meaning. If the door is open but timing is pressed by panic and every wise witness grieves, wait. Not punishment but protection. If the timing appears open, you have freedom, your lease ends, your schedule flexes, but the door is vague and requires you to lie or live on maybes. No, not opportunity, but a test of patience. If peace and counsel align, but the door is still shut, prepare and pray. I may be training your hands for when the latch turns. Do not batter a wall and call it faith. When you wait at the right wall, I can turn it into a gate on the day I choose. And when alignment arrives, you will not need to manufacture euphoria to carry you. The move will feel like obedience, not panic. You will feel stretched, yes, but not severed. You will sense my nearness, not as a thrill that fades, but as a presence that abides. As it is written, in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Proverbs 16:9. I establish, I synchronize, I set the metronome of movement and the tempo of restraint. Ask me for practical next steps even now. Write 3 columns: door, timing, witness, and list what is true today, not what you hope to be true. Bring the list into prayer for 3 days again if needed. Share it with 2 trusted voices who love my ways more than they love your approval. Reach out to the church in the city. Note the response. Contact the employer. See if favor continues when you ask honest questions. Look at the calendar. Propose a timeline that honors integrity. Watch what aligns without coercion. Where you feel the need to push, pause. Where you see me providing sequence and support, step. Beloved child, I go before you to prepare doors you cannot force. I walk beside you to set a pace your soul can carry. I stand behind you to gather witnesses, so you will not be alone in your discernment. I am not late. You are being led. Not confusion, but choreography. Not chaos, but care. In a moment, we will apply this to your exact crossroad. What to do if I am saying wait, and what to do if I am saying move. For now, hold this compass close. Peace, provision, providential alignment. Where these 3 harmonize, you will find my footsteps. Where they do not, you will find my hand upon your shoulder, bidding you be still until they do. Beloved child, if I am saying wait, hear me. I am not withholding your future. I am preparing you to carry it. I am not late. You are being led. Waiting in my hands is not passivity. It is purposeful preparation. It is the soil beneath the surface where roots thicken so branches can bear fruit without breaking. A seed that pushes up too soon is torn by the wind. A seed that rests in right time becomes a tree that shelters many. So it is with you. As it is written, wait on the Lord. Be of good courage. and he shall strengthen your heart. Psalm 27:14. Do not despise this hallway because the door has not swung wide. You are not stuck, you are being steadied. The lamp I place at your feet is enough for this step. I rarely floodlight the entire road because faith, not control, is your engine. Psalm 119:105. I go before you to secure what you cannot see yet. I walk beside you to pace your breathing so you do not sprint into collapse. I stand behind you to keep regret from dragging you toward what I have already asked you to release. Be still in the way that gathers strength. Be faithful in the way that multiplies capacity. Here is your waiting assignment, not as a burden, but as a blessing to occupy this ground with dignity. First, strengthen your spiritual rhythm. Open my word daily, not as a scavenger hunt for signs, but as bread for your soul. Let the Psalms teach your emotions to pray. Read the Gospels until my voice feels familiar in your ears again. Set a small, consistent altar, 15 minutes each morning where you bring me your list and then bring me your silence, and 10 minutes each evening where you review the day with gratitude and confession. Whisper, speak, for your servant is listening. 1 Samuel 3. I do not shout above the noise. I whisper within the quiet. Keep a simple journal. Note when peace returns, when scripture repeats, when counsel resonates. This is how you build muscle memory for the day I say, now. Second, tidy, unfinished obedience. Waiting is not a hiding place. It is a workshop. Forgive the one your heart has held in a quiet prison. Your future cannot carry the weight of yesterday's unpaid debts of bitterness. Write the letter. Make the call. Return what you borrowed. Finish the project you have delayed in your current assignment. Leave rooms better than you found them. If you have gossiped, repent and bless where you once tore down. If you have made commitments, honor them with excellence. I do not promote you to escape integrity. I promote you because you have learned it. Faithful in little, faithful in much. Luke 16:10. Reconcile where I nudge you, release where I command you, and bless where I keep you a while longer. Integrity is a passport that travels farther than any visa. Third, build practical readiness. Align your budget with truth. Name every expense honestly, and let contentment quiet appetites that dress themselves as needs. Add to your runway one faithful deposit at a time. Watch how small obedience compounds into peace. Gather your paperwork, identification, transcripts, certifications, references, and create order where chaos once lived. Update your resume with accuracy and humility. Sharpen a skill that will honor the work ahead. A certification, a course, a language, a competence you have avoided because you feared being a beginner. Sell or give what you do not need so you are not hauling yesterday's clutter into tomorrow's purpose. Research the city with honor, not obsession. Study neighborhoods, transport, cost of living, schools if you are a parent, churches that carry my fragrance. Reach out to leaders with courtesy. Let your future community meet your name before it meets your body. All of this is worship when done with me. Why, you ask, do I delay? Because I love you more than the thrill of a quick change. I delay to protect you from premature exposure. Fruit exposed before the skin thickens spoils under heat. I delay to refine motives so you move for calling, not for applause, for obedience, not for escape. I delay to connect the right people at the right time. Networks you did not know you needed are being braided quietly while you sleep. I delay to close counterfeit doors. Opportunities that glitter with compromise must fall away, so you are not tempted to call a trap a blessing. I delay, so that when the story unfolds, your heart will recognize my fingerprints and not mistake your hustle for my hand. As it is written, he makes all things beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Remember Joseph. The dream did not die in the dungeon, it deepened. The promise did not evaporate in the prison, it matured. The very place that looked like delay was the crucible where wisdom, language, administration, and humility fused into a vessel that could steward a nation's provision. The word of the Lord tried him until the time that his word came. Psalm 105:19. Then, in one appointed day, I lifted him from confinement to command, not as a lottery but as a culmination. So it is with you. Your waiting is not a coffin, it is a classroom. Your current field is not a penalty box. It is a training ground where I am teaching you to recognize the cadence of my leadership, so the palace does not seduce you into forgetting me when you arrive. Hear your name in my mouth. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not behind. You are being positioned. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. I have called you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Where you see standing still, I see roots stitching deeper into living water. Where you see quiet days, I see blueprints being drawn. Where you see closed doors, I see the scaffolding of a doorway I will swing wide when your shoulders can carry the mantle that waits beyond it. Let us be practical and holy at once. Set a weekly rhythm while you wait. One day for intentional rest that refuses to worship productivity. One evening to plan meals and budget so you are not bullied by surprise. 2 focused blocks to apply and to learn. 1 call with counsel to stay accountable. Daily moments to walk and breathe and remember you are a body as well as a soul. Bless your current city. Pray for its leaders. Serve your church. Tip generously. Greet your neighbors by name. This is not wasted goodness. This is how you become the kind of person I can trust in the next city. Sowing here is part of reaping there. Galatians 6. Remember, guard your heart from 2 thieves while you wait: resignation and restlessness. Resignation shrugs. This is all there will ever be, and empties your days of expectancy. Restlessness shouts, do something, anything, and drives you into decisions you must undo. I am the shepherd who gives you a table in the presence of both. Sit, eat, strengthen, and keep your staff in hand. My peace will not coddle sloth, and my urgency will not partner with panic. When I say go, it will carry a different weight. You will feel the same peace you tended in prayer rise to meet new information. Provision will move from promise into material sequence. Alignment will not be a guessing game, but a harmony you cannot deny. The door will be real. The timing will honor integrity. The witness will agree. You will feel stretched, yes, but not severed. The move will feel like obedience, not panic. Until then, be faithful here. I go before you into future rooms, setting chairs in place. I walk beside you in present halls, teaching you to hold your head up. I stand behind you, gathering goodness and mercy into a trail that will follow you all the days of your life. Psalm 23. Do not rush. Do not hide. Do the next right thing with me. Your waiting is a womb, not a wasteland. When I speak now, you will not miss it, because you will have become the kind of listener who knows my cadence. Peace, provision, providential alignment. Keep them close. Be still, then build. And when I turn the latch, step through with the strength we forged together in this beautiful holy wait. Beloved child, now hear me as I place my hand upon your shoulder and say the word you have longed to hear. Move, not as a siren that jolts you into frenzy, but as a bell that rings true and draws your steps into cadence. When I say move, the fog does not necessarily vanish, but clarity increases at the level of your next faithful step. The chorus of distractions quiets. Courage rises even while your emotions still tremble. This is how obedience carries you, stronger than panic, gentler than adrenaline, steady as a whisper that outlasts the wind. My peace has not changed its tone. It has simply shifted from waiting to walking. You will feel it, less like sprinting away from pain, more like stepping toward purpose. When I say move, you will not be driven by panic. You will be carried by obedience, one established step at a time. Proverbs 16:9. Notice the marks of my hand as you go. The questions that once scattered you now line up to be answered in sequence. The urgency you feel does not scold, it invites. You are not bargaining with fear. You are conversing with favor. Doors that required you to pretend are replaced by doors you can walk through with your head lifted. Provision moves from possibility into material order. Interviews turn into offers. Numbers become a plan. Housing opens that does not demand you sacrifice integrity. Providential alignment hums. Conversations converge. Dates fit. Witnesses agree, not as fireworks, but as a harmony you cannot deny. Do not expect to feel invincible. Expect to feel companioned. I go before you to clear routes you could not see. I walk beside you to match stride with your fragile courage. I stand behind you to gather mercy for whatever you forget along the way. Now, beloved, let us move in ways that honor me. Confirm your anchor points with sobriety and joy. Secure the job with clarity in writing, role, compensation, start date, benefits, and ask the honest questions you were once afraid to ask. Secure housing that tells the truth about your budget and your safety. Do not romance red flags because the view is beautiful. If renting, read the lease with light and invite counsel to read it too. If sharing, meet your housemates in daylight and listen beyond charm for character. These acts are not unspiritual. They are worship expressed as wisdom. As it is written, I will not send you where I will not sustain you. Then set a timeline that honors both beginnings and endings. Count backward from your start date to determine your notice period. Give notice with grace, not grudgingly. Make a checklist not as a slave to productivity, but as a servant of peace. Pack room by room. Cancel utilities here, set them up there. Forward mail. Enroll children if you are a parent. Schedule movers or gather friends with pizza and gratitude. Keep a soft cushion of days to breathe upon arrival. Pace your exits. Farewell meals that bless, not rants that scorch. Obedience is clean. It does not require revenge exits or impulsive severing of relationships. Leave keys, codes, and knowledge behind you, like a trail of kindness. Train your successor if one is provided. Finish projects to the measure you can. Document what remains with clarity and care. Do not use calling to justify carelessness. As it is written, whatever you do, do it heartily, as unto the Lord. Colossians 3:23. Invite the wisdom of witnesses into the move itself. Tell 2 or 3 trusted voices your plan and your timeline. Ask not for permission to panic, but for confirmation to proceed. Let them ask hard questions without you bristling. Bring your calendar, your budget, your offer letters into the light. Peace that survives scrutiny is peace I have given. Return to the scriptures that have guided you and let them continue to be lamp to your feet light, not superstition. Psalm 119:105. Hold the plan with open hands. If alignment tightens or loosens a date, adjust without drama. Flexibility in my hands is not compromise. It is wisdom that breathes. Pray over the city before your feet ever touch its sidewalks. Ask me for a portion, streets to bless, schools to intercede for, businesses to serve, churches to strengthen. Pray for its leaders and its peace, for in its peace you shall find yours. Jeremiah 29. Walk it in the Spirit with a map if you must, blessing neighborhoods by name. Reach out to a church that carries my fragrance. Introduce yourself not as a consumer, but as family. Ask for a small group or a team you can serve with in the first month. Anchor the soft landing of your soul before the hard landing of your boxes. If you do not know where to start, begin with one Sunday, one hello, one humble offer to help carry a chair. I have many people in this city. Acts 18:10. Bless what you are leaving. Write gratitude to the manager who gave you your first chance, to the neighbor who watched your packages, to the pastor who prayed over your tears. Pay what you owe. Apologize if you must. Return what you borrowed. Sow a gift into the community you are departing, not as payment for passage, but as a seed of honor. Speak a benediction over your current street. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. Numbers 6. The way you leave shapes the way you arrive. The fragrance of honor lingers longer than any announcement about your next chapter. Do not forget this. You are not relocating merely for comfort. You are being positioned as a vessel, a flow, a light. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. Your gifts are not luggage, they are lamps. Your story is not baggage, it is bread. I am sending you as a quiet river into dry ground, as a steady hand to those who are slipping, as a witness to my faithfulness in cubicles and classrooms, kitchens and studios. View apartments not only for square footage, but for assignment, who lives above and below, who might taste grace at your table. See your commute as a prayer path, your inbox as a field, your desk as an altar. You do not go alone. You go as one I have chosen and commissioned. Remember Abraham. I spoke, "Go to the land I will show you," and he went, not possessing a brochure, but a promise. Genesis 12. He moved with focus on my voice, not control over every variable. Remember Peter. He stepped onto the waves while looking at Jesus, not at a forecast of the wind. When he looked away, he sank. When he cried out, I caught him. Matthew 14. Movement happens with focus, not full control. So it is with you. Keep your eyes on me, not on the tempest of tasks. When your heart surges with fear mid-journey, say my name. I am near enough to lift you. And what of the fear that whispers, what if I make the wrong move and miss God? Hear me. A sincere heart is not fragile in my hands. I am your Father, not a trap setter. In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Proverbs 16:9. If you move in the light you have, with peace, provision, and alignment as your companions, I can correct your course without condemning your soul. Even detours are within my jurisdiction. Keep your conscience tender, your counsel close, your prayers honest. I go before you into the place you have not seen. I walk beside you through the hallway of boxes and goodbyes. I stand behind you, redeeming any stumble with mercy that pursues. So rise, beloved child. Confirm what is real. Set your dates. Bless your leaving. Pray your arriving. Fasten your eyes on me. Then take the step that today asks of you. Do not rush. Do not drag. Move in obedience, one established step at a time, and feel the glad weight of my hand steadying you as we cross this threshold together. Beloved child, I hear the question that wakes you at night and tightens your chest by day. What if I choose wrong and ruin everything? What if one turn, one lease, one signature breaks the story beyond repair? Listen to me with your whole heart. I am not fragile, and neither is my will concerning you when your heart is sincere. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Proverbs 16:9. Establishing does not mean rubber stamping your first draft. It means I set, steady, correct, and reroute. It means mercy is built into the map. You fear that I require perfect forecasting when what I ask is a yielded heart. Perfectionism says you must calculate every variable to avoid my disappointment. Sincerity says you bring me your best light, your honest desire to obey, and your willingness to adjust when I lean you left or right. I do not call you to become an anxious cartographer. I call you to become a faithful follower. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. The light I give you is a lamp to your feet, not a stadium blaze to your future. Psalm 119:105. Walk in the light I have given and watch how new light appears at the next step. Let me give you a picture you know in your bones. When a child learns to walk, the father does not stand across the room with arms crossed, waiting to scold for the first wobble. He crouches, he opens his arms, he smiles. He calls the child by name. He stands close enough to catch and strong enough to steady. The child steps, sways, reaches, sometimes sits abruptly in a heap of limbs and tears. The father lifts, rebalances, and invites again. So it is with you. Your stumbles are not indictments. They are part of instruction. Corrections are not condemnations. They are confirmations of my nearness. I go before you to mark a safe path. I walk beside you to steady your gait. I stand behind you to shield you when momentum takes you farther than wisdom would. You are surrounded by my guidance. Do you remember how Paul aimed one way and found me redirecting him another? He set his plan toward Asia, yet the Spirit did not permit him. In the night, a vision called him to Macedonia. Acts 16. He was not punished for aiming, he was guided for listening. So it is with you. Detours are not evidence that you missed me. They are evidence that I am with you in motion. Where you see lost time, I am weaving preparation. Where you see backtracking, I am insulating you from harm you could not discern. Where you see mixed signals, I am teaching you to hear tones, not just words, to sense how my peace holds under scrutiny, how provision takes shape without manipulation, how alignment hums in threefold witness. Hear this again until fear loosens its grip. A sincere heart is not fragile in my hands. Bring me your plan. Ask me to establish it. Hold it with palms up. If peace thins when you push, pause. If provision requires you to compromise what I have taught you is righteous, step back. If alignment frays, if wise counsel says, not yet, if timing contorts integrity, if the door demands you deny who you are in me, let that restraint protect you rather than offend you. As it is written, I am not the author of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14. I do not bait you with one voice and ambush you with another. You worry about missing the one appointed city, the one correct street, the single perfect door, as if I confine your life to a needle's eye of chance. My favor is not a combination lock you must guess before it resets. I am a father, I am a shepherd. If you veer, I call your name. If you wander, I come after you. If you take a turn that seems wise and discover it was unhelpful, I fold that learning into wisdom you will carry for decades. All things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Your love for me, your willingness to be led, that is the key. I can do more with a misstep in motion than with paralysis baptized as caution. Perfectionism will drain your courage and dress it as prudence. Sincerity will inflate your courage and anchor it with humility. Perfectionism obsesses over optics. How will this look if I pivot later? Sincerity asks, am I listening? Am I yielded? Am I willing to course correct without shame? I honor sincerity. I breathe on humility. I draw near to the contrite. Isaiah 57:15. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. Purity of heart is not flawlessness in planning. It is singleness of intention, to please me, to obey me, to keep your ear tuned even as you move your feet. Receive this surrounding again so your nerves can rest. I go before you to prepare rooms, to soften hearts, to close counterfeit doors that seem generous but would strip your peace. I walk beside you to interpret the day's data, to remind you of what we said in the quiet when the noise tries to rewrite it, to lift your chin when self-accusation stoops your posture. I stand behind you with goodness and mercy, redeeming miscommunications, healing relationships you worry your decision might strain, catching what falls from your tired hands. You are not navigating an indifferent universe. You are being shepherded within a purposeful plan. Now, beloved child, let us make this simple and strong. Return to the method I have taught you: peace, provision, providential alignment. Pray this with me tonight and in the morning. Father, I surrender my map. Establish my steps. Let your peace rule in my heart and not my panic. Colossians 3:15. Provide what is needed for what you command. Close what is counterfeit. Open what is yours. Align the door, the timing, and the witness. Give me courage to wait where you say wait and to move where you say move. Amen. Then do this small, concrete act. Write your current sense on one page: city, timing, door. List the confirmations you have and the questions that remain. Share that page with 2 trusted voices and invite their honest witness. Set a short fast or a sacred hour to quiet the noise. Review your budget in truth. Put one next right step on the calendar. Research, a call, a prayer walk, a visit, and hold it in my presence. You will not miss me. Even your detours are under my hand. Be still enough to hear. Be brave enough to step. Be humble enough to adjust. My peace will whisper through the storm. My provision will meet what I have asked. My alignment will sing when the hour comes. I go before you. I walk beside you. I stand behind you. Take heart, beloved child. We are moving within mercy. Beloved child, receive this final word as a seal upon your heart and a steadying to your feet. Be still, then step. I am not sending you out frantic. I am establishing you. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but I, the Lord, establish their steps. Proverbs 16:9. I go before you to prepare. I walk beside you to pace. I stand behind you to protect. You are not late and you are not lost. You are being led. Here is your compass, simple and strong, to carry into every hallway and threshold. Peace in your spirit, provision in your hands, alignment in your doors. Say it with me until it becomes muscle memory. Peace in your spirit, provision in your hands, alignment in your doors. When fear rises, return to it. When options multiply, measure them by it. When you do not know which voice to trust, hold each possibility in the light of these 3 confirmations. My peace that whispers and survives the storm. My provision that sustains without demanding compromise. My providential alignment where the door, the timing, and the witness agree. I am not the author of confusion. I am the composer of harmony. 1 Corinthians 14. Now do this as an act of worship and wisdom. Set aside 24 to 72 hours of prayerful quiet. Not a life-crushing fast, but a sacred clearing. Quiet the endless scrolling, silence the committee of panic. Turn down the volume of everyone else's pace. Sit with me. Write what you have, what you lack, and what keeps repeating. On one page, name the city you sense, the timing that returns to you, and the door that seems to open without you forcing it. On the next line, name the gaps: funds, counsel, clarity. Ask me to confirm: city, timing, door. Ask boldly, then listen gently. Return morning and evening with the same question and the same surrender. Father, not my map, but your establishment. Let your peace rule. Let your provision appear in order. Let your alignment sing. Colossians 3:15. Where a point remains unclear, wait. Where clarity forms, bless it and begin the next right step. I do not call you to guess. I call you to discern. Hear again who you are, because identity is the soil where decisions grow straight. You are chosen. You are mine. You are becoming. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. I have called you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. You are not a beggar at the door of destiny. You are a son, a daughter, walking with your Father. You carry my name. You carry my image. You carry my promises that do not expire under pressure. Where you see weakness, I see a doorway for my power. My grace is sufficient for you. 2 Corinthians 12:9. So lift your head and let the truth settle in your bones. You belong, and I am the one leading you. This is your commission. Do not move by fear. Move by confirmation, my peace, my provision, and my providential alignment. Be ruthless with anything that masquerades as urgency but empties your peace. Be patient with anything that strengthens peace, even while it stretches courage. If provision requires deception, it is not provision from me. If alignment demands you betray what I have taught you, it is not my door. But when peace grows steadier under prayer, when provision lines up without you manipulating, when alignment appears in the door that opens at the time, integrity allows with witnesses who say yes, then step. Step not as one chased by panic, but as one carried by obedience. Beloved child, I am sending you as a vessel, not a runaway. I have people to love through you, rooms to warm by your presence, work to dignify through your hands, streets to bless with your prayers. You are not merely changing addresses, you are answering calling. Guard your heart, keep your ear tuned, and carry this refrain in your mouth as a shield and a song. Peace in my spirit, provision in my hands, alignment in my doors. When the wind argues and the calendar crowds you, place your hand upon your heart and say it again. Peace, provision, alignment, and let your breathing match my cadence. Now, as a father rests his palm upon the back of a child learning to stand, I rest my hand upon you and pray over you in the language of my own heart. Be ruled by peace and not by panic. Be supplied for what I command and spared from what would harm. Be aligned with the door I open, the season I appoint, and the witness I send. Let courage and humility kiss within you, and let wisdom be your companion. Let love be your motive, faith your operating system, and hope your horizon. May your going out and your coming in be under mercy, this day and always. Psalm 121. So hear these gentle imperatives and let them order your steps. Do not rush. Do not shrink back. Be still. Then move when I say move. Wait when I whisper, wait. Walk when I say walk. Honor the city you are in. Bless the city to which I send you. Keep your hands clean, your heart soft, your stride steady. I go before you. I walk beside you. I stand behind you. You will not miss me. Even detours are under my hand. If this word has steadied you, hold it, share it, and return to it when your nerves begin to race. Thank you for listening, my beloved. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss what I will speak next. Amen. Heat, heat, hey.